Hello, I'm Cath. This is made by Cath Craft. Thank you very much for joining me for this video. So in this video, I'm going to be talking all about some really lovely dress sewing patterns that I think are perfect for this time of year where the weather's starting to get a little bit cooler. I love sewing dresses, they're one of my favourite things to sew, and I especially love sewing and wearing dresses for when the weather gets a bit cooler because I love to plan different ways of wearing them, you know, choosing a pair of tights to go with them and a cardigan and which boots to wear and all that sort of thing. So it's definitely a time of year where I start looking at my dress patterns, looking out there for new dress patterns and trying to get some inspiration. So I'm hoping to give you a bit of inspiration in this video. I've got a real mix of patterns. They are all designed for woven fabrics, but I've got a whole range of pattern companies, and I've also got a few patterns to share that are ones I've made myself and I love and I know work really well at this time of year. But I've also got a few new patterns to share, or new to me. And when I was having a little research online, I came across a few options I loved the look of and I thought would be perfect for this time of year. And I thought I would really love to give a try. So that is my plan for this video. Hopefully I'll give you a bit of sewing inspiration. And also I've got a particular fabric that I'd love to sew up sooner rather than later because I didn't sew up last year, I've had it for a while. And I think it'll make a perfect autumnal dress. So I thought I'd share that just briefly, and maybe you can let me know if you think any of the patterns in this video would be a really great match, particularly for this fabric. So yeah, I'll share the fabric briefly. It's this one here. It is a tencel twill fabric that I got quite a while ago from Minerva, and I just loved the colours in it. I thought they were really perfect for when it gets a bit more cooler weather. Yeah, I said it's a tencel twill, so it's got that sort of twill, sort of diagonal texture on the fabric. And it's got a lovely drape to this fabric, but it's a bit more substantial than, say, a viscose. It's got a bit more of a heavier feel to it. So it's a perfect fabric for keeping you cosy, I think, at this time of year. But yeah, let me know as I go through the video if you think any of the particular patterns I mentioned would be a perfect match for this fabric. I'll link this fabric down below, by the way, just in case you're interested. It comes in a whole range of very pretty colours. And I'll link all the patterns I talk about through this video too. So let's get started. So as you'll know, if you've watched my videos before, I usually start my videos off by sharing with you what I'm wearing for my handmade wardrobe. But actually the dress I'm wearing today I made using a pattern I'm going to be talking about in this video a little bit later on. So I'll share all the details of my outfit today a little bit later. But I thought I'd instead kick off this video by sharing my first pattern that I think would be perfect for this time of year. And it's actually a new to me pattern and also a new to me pattern company too. But I found this pattern when I was browsing the Fold Line website, which I think is a great source of inspiration for lots of different patterns. And when I saw this pattern sort of scrolling by, it sort of stopped me in my tracks because I just love the details of it. And it is a pattern by Ready to Sew, and it is their Jolene shirt and shirt dress. So I'll put a picture up so you can see what the pattern looks like. It's a really lovely shirt dress pattern. It's got quite a fitted bodice and a couple of different sleeve options. You can either make a sort of dolman style short sleeve or a set-in sleeve that's I think 3/4 length with sleeve tabs, which I thought would be perfect for autumnal weather. But what I really loved about the pattern was the detail to the bodice. So the bodice has princess seams and then there's gathering down each side on each outside piece of the princess seams, which I thought was a lovely detail and I thought would make a really pretty shirt dress with a bit of a twist. There's also a couple of different skirt lengths built in, so you can make a midi length or a knee length. And there are a couple of different collar options too. There's a round collar and a pointed collar, so you can have a bit of fun mixing and matching the details on this pattern. But I do really like a princess seam. I think it's quite a nice shape. And I thought the gathering was just such a pretty detail. So it's a pattern I'd really love to give a try. In terms of sizing, it doesn't have the best size range, unfortunately. I think the pattern goes from a UK 4 up to a UK 18, which takes you up to a bust of 41.5 inches or thereabouts. But yeah, it's just a lovely pattern. I'd like to give it a try. I like the idea of trying a new pattern company. And I just thought it was a really pretty one. I do love a shirt dress, so this is definitely on my list for one I think would be great for this time of year. So the next pattern that I've got to share is an old favourite of mine. I've made a few versions of this pattern and I always enjoy getting them out at this time of year. And this is a pattern here. It is the Myosotis dress pattern by Deer and Doe. So it's another shirt dress pattern, but it's quite different to the Jolene dress. This one is not designed to be fitted at all. It's actually got quite an oversized, loose fitting vibe to it. But it has some really pretty details to it. It's got this band, collar and V-neck, which then tapers down into a button-down front to the bodice. And it's got some darts on the bodice too to give a bit of shape there. And then you can make quite a simple shirt dress option here with a gathered skirt, or you can add ruffles, you can add sleeve ruffles, and also a skirt ruffle too. So it's a really pretty pattern. Again, it hasn't got the biggest size range. It goes from a European 34 up to a 52, which takes up to a bust of 45 3/8 of an inch. But actually, when you look at the finished garment measurements, this one, there's loads of ease in it. And I've always sized down and also added on waist ties to give it a little bit more of a fitted feel. But it's a lovely shirt dress, perfect for this time of year. I always make the short sleeve version and then layer it up with a cardigan and a pair of tights, and I think it works perfectly for cooler weather. So that's another option. I think it would work really well in my check fabric, but I'm not sure if it's the right choice for that one, but I do love this one for autumn. So the next pattern that I wanted to talk about is a pattern I haven't sewn up to date, but I've been eyeing this pattern up for quite a while and I'd really like to give it a go, and I think it looks perfect for transitional weather. And it's a pattern by Stylar, and I haven't sewn many Stylar patterns, but I really like their whole aesthetic, so I really like to give some more of them a go. And this dress is definitely top of my list of Stylar patterns I would like to try. So I'll pop a picture up of it. It is the Stylar Hope woven dress pattern. So as you can see, this one isn't a shirt dress. It's quite a relaxed fit baby doll style dress with some really nice details to it. It's high-waisted with these sort of deep raglan sleeves, and I quite like that combination. And I think you can pull it on over your head, but there's a little button and loop fastening at the back that you need to secure. And then the sleeves are quite full with an elasticated cuff, which I thought was a nice detail too. And you can make it either as a knee length or midi length. There's a couple of different length options built in. And I thought it would be quite a nice one to try. But one of the reasons I haven't tried it to date is I've got quite a similar pattern already, which is the Cassiope dress by I Am Patterns. And again, it's a raglan sleeve baby doll style dress, although the sleeve is a bit different. It's got a sort of batwing style sleeve that actually gets sort of narrower as you get to the cuff, rather than a sort of loose full sleeve like the Hope woven dress. But I'd really like to give the Hope woven dress a try. I've made the Cassiope dress quite a few times now, so I think I've probably got enough of those. But I'd really like to see how the Hope dress compares. I've heard lots of really good things about it, so yeah, I think it'll be, I do love a raglan sleeve, relaxed fit, woven style dress, so I think it's definitely something I would wear. And I think it'll be quite cute in this fabric too. I think in the check fabric it'll be quite nice. So yeah, it's definitely an option for this fabric. And it has a good size range too. It comes in an Australian size 4 up to a size 30, which takes you up to bust of 58¼ inches. So it's definitely a pattern I'd like to try. Whether I match it with my check fabric, I don't know, but I do think it'll be a lovely one to have in my wardrobe for the autumnal time of year. So the next pattern I wanted to mention is another old favourite. It's one I always enjoy reaching for at this time of the year. I've got a couple of versions I love to pull out. And I've had this pattern in the back of my mind as a potential contender for the check fabric for quite a while, but I'm not sure if it's going to be the final dress I choose. But it is this pattern here. It is the Davenport dress pattern by Friday Patten Co. So I really love this pattern, especially in a drapey fabric. It's a pattern that has all the gathers going on. It has a sort of fitted look to it because it's got this drawstring waist in the middle, but quite a blousy bodice. And there's interesting neckline that has elastic at the front. That's how this gathering is created. So it means you can slip it over your head nice and easily without any like zips or fastenings needed there. Then it's got quite a full sleeve with another ruffle at the bottom, an optional sleeve ruffle too, this little yoke detail, and a ruffle on the skirt with slash pockets. So loads going on with this dress. And I think when it first came out, I thought maybe there was too much going on and it would end up wearing me, but actually in a drapey fabric, I really, really love it. And it's got a really great size range, as Friday Patten Co companies usually do. It goes from a extra small up to a 7X, which takes you up to bust of 60 inches. So it's a lovely pattern. It probably isn't actually my favourite to sew because of the amount of gathering involved. It's quite a lengthy sew just because there's so much to gather. But once it all comes together, I think it's such a pretty one that I really enjoy wearing. So it's a really nice one for this time of year, especially in a lightweight drapey fabric. I do like the idea of making it in a check fabric, but the check fabric It's a bit heavier than the other fabrics I've made the Davenport dress in. I've made it before in viscose challis fabrics that are very lightweight, so I'm not sure if it'd be the best match in that sort of sense for that fabric, but I thought I had to mention it because it's such a lovely dress pattern for this time of year. So the next dress pattern I wanted to talk about is the pattern I'm wearing today, and I've got it on today because it really is perfect for this weather when it's starting to get a bit cooler. And this is a pattern by French Navy, and if you've watched my channel for a while, you'll know I really love French Navy patterns, particularly their dress patterns. I just find them so comfy and easy to wear as sort of everyday dresses. But I love all the little details to them too. It makes me feel quite put together and stylish as well as comfy, so the perfect combination. And the pattern I've got on today is their Forsythe dress pattern, but it's the expansion pack version. So I had the original Forsythe dress pattern for quite a while, and then last year they released the expansion pack version. So this is the original dress pattern here. So it's a really nice dress pattern. It's kind of, the fit is not fitted but not oversized, so somewhere in between, like a relaxed fit. And it's got this lovely panelled bodice, and it's quite clever how the panelling lines then feed down into the pocket line, which then curves around. And at the back, it's got a button down back, and it's got these cuffed sleeves. And as you can see, the original dress was quite a summery option. But then last year, French Navy introduced a more wintry version in their expansion pack, which is this one here. And I really loved the look of it, and I sewed it up straight away, this one. So they basically switched it around by switching the button down placket from the back to the front. So it's got a front button down placket now. And they added on these sleeves here, which they describe as 3/4 length bishop sleeves that are gathered into a unique shape at the soft, comfortable cuffs, and they sort of have a drapiness to them too. And I thought the sleeve detail was really pretty and a bit different to what I'd seen out there before, particularly how the cuff hangs sort of high-low almost. So I really enjoyed sewing up this expansion pack, and this is my only version I've made to date. I made it in this lovely cotton fabric that I originally got from Simply Fabrics, who I'll link down below. I don't think this particular cotton is in stock, but they have some lovely fabrics coming through. It's got like a micro check to it. It's lovely and soft, but it has a bit of body to it. So you can see there's a bit of sort of puff to the sleeve, although I actually did narrow the sleeve slightly because I didn't want them to be too oversized. And I've gone for these navy buttons, and I'll stand up a bit so you can see the whole way the dress fits. It's a really comfy one to wear. And ever since I've made this version, I thought I'd like to revisit this pattern. I'd love to make another version just because it is so nice for this time of year. The 3/4 cuff works really well, and it's quite cosy in this sort of cotton fabric. So I think if I made a version in this fabric again, it would be quite cosy and quite different to the version I already have. Although they both be check. This is such a micro check, you can't really see it so much. It's quite a subtle check. So yeah, anyway, it's a lovely pattern. The only thing about this pattern is, at the moment, the size range isn't the most extensive. It goes from a UK 6 up to a UK 16, which takes you up to a bust of 42 inches. But I do know French Navy are in the process of updating their size range on all of their existing patterns, as well as planned future patterns. So hopefully, in the not too distant future, this one might be available in a wider size range too. But it's a lovely one for this time of year with some really pretty details. It sews up really nicely, so I do love the Forsythe dress. Whilst I'm on the subject of French Navy patterns, there was one other French Navy dress pattern I wanted to mention in this video because it's another one that I think is just so nice for this time of year. And it's this pattern here. It is their Fleetwood dress pattern. So it's a shirt dress pattern, but again, like the Forsythe dress, it has some lovely details that set it apart. And actually, when I got that green check fabric, this was one of the patterns that first popped into my mind that might be a good fit for that check fabric. But there's something that's maybe held me back from actually going ahead and cutting that fabric out into a Fleetwood dress. I'm not sure. But I do only have one version of the Fleetwood dress I have made to date, so it's definitely a pattern I would like to visit because I always enjoy getting out my one version. But I'll show you the line drawings of this pattern. I particularly like view A here. So both versions have this round neck finished by bias binding and a button down front, and then they've got a front and back yoke with a bit of gathering at the back and these interesting panels to the bodice. And they've got a sleeve that's fairly straight with this cuff and placket at the bottom. And then this version of view A has a waistline that sits just below your natural waist with a couple of ruffly skirt gathered tiers. Or this view B has a slightly lower slung waist with just the one tier. So it's a really cool pattern. I've made this version here. And I think if I did use this pattern for the check fabric, this is the version I'd go for again. I had to do a few little tweaks to it. I actually made a toile of the bodice on this one to get the fit just right. And I had to make a couple of tweaks, like a slight forward shoulder adjustment and make the sleeves a little bit wider because they came up a little bit tight on me. But now I've got the fit right, I really would like to revisit this pattern. Again, the only downside of the pattern is it has a quite limited size range at the moment, like the Forsythe dress, so it also goes from a UK 6 up to a UK 16. But again, like I mentioned with the Forsythe dress, hopefully the size range will be expanding on this one. But it is such a lovely shirt dress pattern. I think the details make it really pretty and a bit different. I'd love to revisit it. And I think this version here almost looks a little bit similar to that green fabric. Maybe that's why I have this pattern in mind for that fabric. You could have fun maybe with the little yokes like this this version here, sort of playing with the direction of the check and making it diagonal at points. So it's definitely a contender and a lovely dress for this time of year. So the next pattern that I wanted to share is another pattern that I found when browsing the Fold Line website, like the Ready to Sew Jolene dress I mentioned earlier. And this dress really stopped me scrolling when I was looking for dress inspiration because I loved the details to it, and I thought it's a dress pattern I could really see myself wearing. And it's actually the only Big Four dress pattern I'm including in this video, and it is the McCall's M8342 dress pattern. So I'll pop up the line drawing so you can see what it looks like, because there's a couple of different variations. So it is a shirt dress pattern, and it looks like quite a fitted shirt dress pattern. And you can either make this version at the top here with this interesting sort of bodice that has this sort of almost oversized pieces to it. I'm not sure how that would come together. I'm quite intrigued by it. But the version I really like the look of is this version down here, which is the princess seamed fitted bodice version, and then it has buttons all the way down the front of the bodice and the skirt, and a gathered skirt, and you can make it looks like either as more of a knee-length skirt or a longer length skirt. And has a collar too, and I just thought it looked like a really pretty shirt dress pattern. I don't have a shirt dress pattern that's very fitted like that with the princess seams, but I thought it had a really pretty silhouette to it, and I thought it might be a fun one to give a go. And I personally don't sew Big Four patterns that often, but I would like to give them a go more. So I thought this would be a great one to try, and perfect for this time of year when you want something a little bit more cozy. I'm not sure if I can see myself making it in the check fabric, but I had to include this in the video because it just caught my eye, and I definitely like to try making it in some sort of fabric that'll be nice for this time of year. So that is, yeah, the McCall's M8342, and I had a look at the sizing, and it goes from a size 4 up to 26. I'm not sure if that's US sizing, but it takes you up to a bust of 48 inches. But I love the fit of princess seams, and I like the idea of button down all the way down both the bodice and the skirt. I thought that was quite a pretty detail, and I'd be quite intrigued to see how that top version would work and how that comes together as well. So I think it might be quite an interesting pattern to give a try. So the next pattern that I wanted to talk about that I think would be perfect for this time of year is a pattern I do have in my pattern collection, but I've never actually made the dress version of it because this pattern comes with a blouse version and a dress version. And today I've only made the blouse version, but I have made several blouses using this pattern, and I really love them all. And I've been wanting to try the dress option for absolutely ages, so I don't know why I haven't got around to it to date really, but I do think it'll be perfect for this time of year. And the pattern is this one here. It is the Sudley dress and blouse pattern by Megan Nielsen Patterns. Megan Nielsen Patterns is another one of those pattern brands that I really love. I find all their patterns really comfy to wear. I really like the style of them. And I love the Sudley. So the dress version is this relaxed fit dress with a gathered skirt. And what it's cool about this dress, it's reversible. So it has this lovely detail at the top of the bodice, which is a keyhole cutout with ties. And you can wear that either at the front or the back. And I've got the old version of the pattern. It has since been updated. The sizing range has been updated, and also the options built in have been updated. So this old version, as you can see, only has one sleeve length option for the dress, which is just below the elbow length sleeve. That's kind of has a loose cut, so just a loose kind of hemmed cuff at the bottom. But now the pattern's been updated, and you can make this dress with a full length sleeve that has an elasticated cuff. And I really like that option actually. So I think when I make the Sudley dress, because I am going to make it at some point, I'm going to make that lengthened sleeve version. I've actually made that adjustment on blouses I've made. The blouses I've made one short sleeve version. I've made two versions with a full length sleeve with that elasticated cuff. So I think it'll be easy to just switch that around and make it into a dress. But it's a really pretty dress pattern, fairly relaxed and easy and comfy to wear. And now the updated size range is a really good size range too. There's a 0 to 20 range, and also a curve version which comes in size 14 to 30, which takes you up to bust of 56 inches. So a really nice size range and a really pretty dress pattern. And I think originally when I bought the check fabric, I did have this pattern in mind, but I'm not sure if this is the pattern I would go for that fabric now. I just think there might be better options, but I definitely would love to make this dress pattern in some sort of swishy fabric sometime soon, because I do think it'll be perfect for this time of year. So yeah, that's the Sudley dress. I really should try it because it's been on my list to make for absolutely ages. So the next pattern that I wanted to talk about, that is one that I think looks really good for this time of year, and I know so many people have sewn up and really love. So it's one I really feel like I should try and I think would be a great one to have in my wardrobe. And it is the Lyra shirt dress by Tilly and the Buttons. So I'll put up a picture, but I'm sure you're familiar with this one because it has been really, really popular. So the Lyra shirt dress is designed to be a fairly loose fitting shirt dress, I think, with quite a billowy bodice and buttons down the front of the bodice. Then it's got a classic collar with stand, and you can make it either as a short sleeve or full length billowy sleeves, and I think they have an elasticated cuff. And then you can make the skirt is kind of like a midi length skirt. I think you might be able to make it knee length too, and you can add an optional ruffle to the bottom too. And there's also a little waist tie that you can make to cinch it in at the waist because it's not designed to be fitted. So the Lyra is a shirt dress that I've sort of known about obviously since it came out, and I've admired lots of versions of other people, but I just haven't tried it. I think because I've got other shirt dresses in my Patten collection. But I do think it'll be a lovely one for this time of year, and it is one I'd like to give a try, and I think it might be a nice match for the green fabric, although I think maybe if I made the midi length that might be too much, so I'd probably go for a shorter length if I did choose it. And I'm not sure about the fit in it because I know it does come up a bit oversized, so I wouldn't want to feel like it was wearing me either, so maybe it's a pattern if I need to make a toile of, just to make sure I was happy with the fit before I cut into any nice fabric. But I thought it was definitely worth a mention because I know it's been really popular, and it is one that I feel like I really should make just because I know so many people really love it, and you can mix up the different options in it. So you could probably create a few different shirt dress versions. So that is the Lyra shirt dress. In terms of sizing, I think it's part of Tilly and the Buttons' wider size range. They're now releasing their new patterns in. So it goes from a UK 6 up to a UK 34, taking up to bust of 60 inches. So that's the Lyra shirt dress. I do think that the check fabric would be lovely as a shirt dress. I'm not sure if this is the pattern I'm going to pick for it, but I did think it's a very pretty pattern for this time of year. So that brings me to the final pattern that I wanted to share in this video. And this one is an old favourite of mine, and I've made a few versions of it. And I think it works really well at this time of year. But actually, I feel this pattern's a bit of an all-rounder and you can wear it through all the seasons. And it is this pattern here. It is the Hinterland dress pattern by Sew Liberated. So it's quite a relaxed fit dress with a gathered skirt. It's got a button down placket on the front bodice, and you can also take the placket all the way down the skirt if you want to. And it's got different sleeve options, a short sleeve or a sleeveless or a sort of 3/4 length sleeve version. And like I said, the fit's quite loose and relaxed. It sews up really nicely. The neckline's finished with bias binding, which comes together really nicely. And it's just a really easy to wear dress. And it's definitely an option I've considered for the check fabric. But part of me thinks, is that too much of an easy option? Yes, it'll make a lovely comfy dress, but maybe I should try a new pattern or something I haven't tried before, instead of going for something that's nice and comfortable and a tried and tested one. But I thought it was worth a mention because it's a lovely, relaxed, easy to wear pattern. And I think it'll be, if you made it in, say, a sort of cozier brushed cotton or something like that, it would be so lovely for this time of year. And I think, again, the fabric I've got, the Tencel Twill, will make a lovely cozy version for when the weather's getting a bit cooler. And it also comes in a really good size range. It goes from a US 0 to 34, taking up to bust of 58.5 inches. So it is a great option, I think, especially with the 3/4 sleeves, or you can lengthen them even to make them full length to make it even more cozy. It's just a really nice, easy to wear dress. It's got a little scoop neck, just very classic. Perfect one to match with lots of different cardigans, chunky ones, lighter weight ones, tights, and all that sort of thing. So those are a whole range of dress patterns that I think are really lovely for this time of year when the weather's starting to get a bit cooler. So I hope you've enjoyed hearing all about them. There's definitely a few there that I'd really like to give a try, and I think it'll be a lot of fun to sew up. So hopefully they'll feature on my sewing plans maybe for this autumn. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you think one particular dress pattern would work particularly well for this lovely check fabric, then please do drop me a line below and let me know your thoughts. I would love to sew this up this year because I was quite disappointed last year I didn't get it sewn up, and I'd really like to be enjoying wearing this fabric. It is so nice and soft and cozy. I think it would make a really, really lovely dress. So thank you so much for watching. I hope it's given you a bit of inspiration. And if you've enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, please do subscribe and press the bell icon too, which means you'll be notified when I bring out my future videos. So hopefully see you for another video again soon, but in the meantime, I will say goodbye. Bye.